Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dearborn Public School Board meeting. It's Monday, February 9th, and I call the meeting to order.
Trustee Bezzi.
Here.
Trustee D'Ambrosio, not present. Trustee Mozip.
Here.
Trustee Pelichkov.
Here.
Trustee Subuh.
Here.
Trustee Zahar here. President Aljahmi.
Here.
Our next item is a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I see we have representatives from Lowrey Elementary School here with us today. Please make your way up to the podium with their assistant principal, Mr. Kamel Bezzi.
Yeah, you can introduce. Yep. Okay. Good evening, everyone. We thank you for having Lowrey students. For wonderful young men, we have Qasim Dabaja, Muhammad Al-Saad, Joseph Jawad, and Muhammad Bazi. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Guys, we have some plaques for you here.
This is for Muhammad Bazi. Joseph. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I saw these young men before, and I let them know if they messed up, they would have to all do summer school, but it sounded to me that they all did a pretty good job.
They did an amazing job, and I want to thank the principal over there, Ms. Eunice, and Mr. Bazzi, the AP, who I've known for a while. My kids went to some of the schools he went to. Also, Lowrey's very special to me since my grandkids go there. So thank you so much for coming and doing the pledge, everyone. Right.
Our next item is the superintendent's update.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We have a lot of updates today. We will begin with a moment of silence. The first item here is on January 15th, a 2025 Dearborn graduate passed away suddenly. The loss of any life is sad, but when we lose a young person filled with so much potential, so much more to give, it is a reminder of how fragile life can be and how important it is to appreciate all who have touched our lives. We also experienced the passing of Ismail Ahmed. On January 31st, Ismail Ahmed passed away. Ish, as many of us know him as, was one of the grassroots founders of Access in its earliest days. He played a key role in its growth and served as a longtime executive director. The community has and will continue to benefit from his contributions in providing a voice, services, and growth. His wife, Margaret King Ahmed, was a longtime district employee of 22 years. Those who worked closely with Margaret, me being one of them, can attest to her passion and commitment to our community as well. Please let's take a moment of silence to remember them. Thank you. We have one retirement this month. Trisha Laschuk, STEAM enrichment teacher, is retiring after 27 years of service, most recently at Hague Elementary. Her retirement is effective June 30, 2026. Okay. Last month was School Board Appreciation Month, and we have two district employees who also serve on boards of education, and they are Danielle Alzayat, Director of Safety and Security, and Dan Taylor, Music Resource Teacher. Thank you both for your service in your respective communities. If there are any other staff that we are not aware of who serve on boards of education, please let us know, as we'd like to recognize you as well. I'd like to next congratulate President Aljahmi on being recognized for his Level 1 certification. Is that correct? With MASB?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
February is School Counselors Month. Our school counselors work with our students to provide clarity, direction, and support day in and day out, and we appreciate all of their hard work. So thank you to all of our school counselors. February is also CTE Month, Career and Technical Education Month. We currently have CTE programs that focus on computer programming, business academy, digital design, infotech, criminal justice, culinary arts, pre-education, construction trades, health sciences, auto tech, and welding. Dearborn Schools values our CTE programs, and we are committed to expanding these options for our students to prepare them for high-skill and demand careers in the future. February is also Black History Month. This month provides an opportunity to reconcile with the past, pave the way for a more just future, and celebrate all the amazing figures who have taken their place in the chronicles of Black history. More importantly, we must remember that Black history is our history. It's America's history. The accomplishments and achievements of Black Americans are part of the fabric that is woven into our great nation. Last month, the board asked the administration to provide options for a potential ballot proposal based on the information and data shared with the board. We are making great progress towards this goal and continue refining possible plans that will offer a comprehensive approach to addressing our infrastructure needs. We look forward to sharing more details with the board and public at a future date. Also last month, President Aljahmi asked for a few updates, one being regarding the school improvement plan, cybersecurity, and work order update. We will begin with those updates now. Fatme, Executive Director Fatme Faraj will approach the podium and share with us school improvement updates.
Good evening, President Aljahmi, Board Trustees, and members of our community.
Good evening.
I just wanted to first thank all of our teachers, administrators, and all of the support staff for all the work that they do every day, because I know that we often pay attention to proficiency and student achievement, but we want to acknowledge all of the great work happening in our schools every single day with every single teacher. We heard about CTE from Lamis and the multiple programs that we have. We also have the secondary programs that we should celebrate, as well as all of the non-academic extracurricular activities and events happening in every single school. So these are not necessarily academic factors, but they do impact student learning every single day. So thank you so much. And counselors being one of them, it's Counselors Month as well. So today we're going to touch a little bit on the path we're taking to strengthen systems so that we can improve proficiency in our schools. School improvement plans, SMART goals, district improvement plan existed as far as I can say we've all been in schools. However, what impacts student achievement are the systems that we put in place to ensure that plans are implemented with fidelity, and this is what we're going to touch on today. We all are aware that Michigan reading scores lag behind most states. We know that Dearborn compares favorably in some areas, but faces similar statewide challenges. And students are entering with greater needs than they've ever done in the past, specifically post-COVID, which we do not use as an excuse, but we do notice that when students are assessed, when they enter preschool and kindergarten in our district, they come in lagging prerequisite skills even to be able to function in school. We're not even talking about academics there, which takes us time to establish with the students. This is a shared responsibility across the district, school, families, and the state partners. We currently serve on state committees along with the governor's office to improve literacy in the state. So we play a role in that as well. As I mentioned earlier, we must acknowledge that we do a lot of great things in the district, and we're very proud of them. We implement a whole child initiatives, strong secondary and alternative programs, and the school improvement process within the accountability system in the state changed the name from school improvement plans to continuous improvement plans, focusing on the whole child, meaning that we must include factors that are not academics necessarily. But we do recognize, and with a sense of urgency, that we intentionally have to boost student proficiency and college readiness. Our plans include goals that will improve both academic outcomes and non-academic conditions that directly impact learning. And these are attendance, behavior, and school climate. And these are also part of this board's goals. I just put here a snapshot of how we can compare to the state in terms of percentile ranking in ELA and math. In ELA, we are 56th state percentile, and this is 2 points up from the previous year, from year to year, meaning 23-24 to 24-25. In math, we are 72 percentile rank, so we should acknowledge that as well. And this is based on both students scoring proficient and advanced proficient on MSTEP, PSAT, and SAT. We also recognize that science and social studies need additional support, and meaning specifically a whole system support in terms of adopting new resources in science and social studies. And we are on the path to doing that from elementary to middle school to high school. One of the factors or elements that we strengthened this year is the transparency and accessibility of data. We have established a new dashboard. It's called the Data Dashboard, thanks to Dr. Patterson for all of the work he put in to establish this dashboard. It is a centralized and accessible platform that is on the district website. It also includes every school improvement plan document that you can click and view that specific plan. The SIP committee expanded to include board members as well, and these two increased transparency and communications with our stakeholders and the board. We did have data and reports, and all of the specific reports in the dashboard existed. However, they were either shared by sharing with principals in folders or in meetings, but the dashboard brought all of the pieces together, which is provides much better accessibility for all. Building level accountability, again, all of the items we listed here have been strengthened. That team, including Lamis, Diana, Dan, and I, have worked on this together to make sure that accountability is tangible and actionable in these plans. Principals revisited and recalibrated their SMART goals within their own plans. Strategies and activities include explicit instructions, which is based on the science of reading, making sure that every building implements an activity based on the science of reading. And the plan includes a cycle of monitoring these activities, evaluating them, and then also measuring the impact. Building admin implements instructional walkthroughs and actionable feedback, and we had them also establish an activity within their school improvement plans that specifies that classroom walkthroughs are a must in order for you to see how activities are implemented and measure the impact as well. Professional development is also, we worked on that to make sure it's aligned to classroom expectations. There's also a structured mid-year and year-end evaluation of outcomes. At mid-year, we measure progress. At the end of the year, we examine outcomes. The SIP visits and instructional walkthroughs by district and other administrators from different schools sign up to be with us on those visits. So principals can learn from each other and they see what's happening in the other schools. One of the best strategies to improve student achievement is actually lifting good practices from different classrooms and different schools and establishing a culture of positive deviance, which is truly emulating what's happening in other schools. So monitoring without accountability does not change results, and we know that. Most often, programs fail because of fidelity of implementation or the lack of systems. So the bottom line is that improvement comes from strong systems and strong instruction. And this has to be across the board. System means we are implementing in every classroom within a school or in every school within our district. Small gains and improving our systems should be emulated, as we mentioned, because these are the examples that people will trust. Teachers will trust good examples, and they will build a culture of improvement. Without fidelity, even the strong plan, as well as it's written, it's gonna fail. With any plan, like we said, we implement the monitoring the progress, evaluating strategies, and adjusting if we need to, based on the results. So the factors impacting student achievement, and this is based on research, curriculum and instruction, how instruction is delivered, and if the curriculum is delivered with clarity, meaning that it's based on the essential standards that are based on the Common Core State standards. I wanted to mention here that in many instances, taking the resources or the curriculum to the student's level does not help the student. We can do that when we provide extra support, but in core instruction, we must teach with clarity and guarantee that every student has access to high quality curriculum and resources. So that's one thing we're focusing on. Lesson design and delivery are, they have the highest impact as well, and that's part of curriculum and instruction. So when we think about curriculum and instruction, we should think about professional development given to teachers and how they're designing the lesson and how they're delivering the lesson. One factor that is not necessarily within our boundaries, but we can advocate for it all the time, is students being read to at home and communicated with regularly to develop oral language skills. Students often enter preschool, as I mentioned earlier, and students who are spoken to and are engaged in conversations are read to come in with higher readiness skills. These are the board goals from this last year, and you can see that they are highly aligned with our work and our continuous improvement process in the district and in the individual schools.
Any questions from the board? Trustee Muslim.
Thank you, Dr. Faraj, for this presentation. I have a question on accountability. So can you expand more on that as far as how is each building accountable for its own goals? What happens when they miss their targets? Or what happens when they meet or exceed their targets?
So I heard the first part, what happens if they miss their target?
If
and
the building misses its target or misses the target.
Okay, so we coach principals through developing attainable goals, which is part of the SMART, S-M-A-R-T. Attainable meaning based on a trend in that specific building. How did the building fare for the last few years, and what would be realistic and attainable for them? We won't go to a building that did not make any gains for the past 3 years and say you need to set a 10 points improvement in your SMART goal. We make sure that we coach them to develop a goal, maybe 3 to 5 percentage points. And if they do not achieve that, if they do achieve, of course, we celebrate and we set another goal for the following year with increments. If they did not, we coach principals and we coach staff. We provide support in terms of professional development. We coach principals also in terms of coaching. What would coaches, because we have several support staff in each building, and the support staff's main goal is to improve instruction in the classroom. So this is how we coach principals and coaches in each of the buildings. And coaches are not instructional coaches only. We have special ed resource teachers, we have English language development specialists, and they all work with classroom teachers. So we target core instruction as well as interventions.
That's great to hear. So say we gave them all the support they need and they're still lagging and they're not making their goals of the second year, third year. At one point, do we say there needs to be core changes?
Absolutely. Core changes meaning more intensive intervention from the district level to the building. Yes. Just like when students are lagging and they're 3 and 4 years behind, we give them more intensive intervention. We do the same in buildings where we provide additional support.
Yeah. And then second question is, you mentioned that you have even kindergartners coming at a level where not even academically, but like as far as life skills.
Right.
And I know we already embarked with the Early Learning Coalition, getting families who have kids from 1 to 4 to be involved, to send them to programs that are, at the district so they can get the feel of it. What else are we doing on that front? And what do you think we should be doing on that front for kids who are 1 to 4, who are not yet in our buildings, but we want to make that transition easier?
As much as we can amplify these opportunities for parents, we can have the students who enter our schools more prepared. I would say parenting classes helps as well, because we don't know for sure that the parents all understand what is it that they need to be doing with their students in terms of increasing those oral language skills. But I'm going to also let the expert, Lamis, who oversees early childhood, contribute to that answer.
Thank you, Fatme. Not nearly an expert, but there's a few things that I'm excited to say right now. GSRP seats are all full. We're at capacity. It hasn't been that way in a while. We've been close. So what does that tell us? We need more seats open to provide more opportunities for these kids. The families, more than ever, are seeing the need for early childhood development. And we have an amazing program. A drawback that I think every early childhood teacher would agree with me on is the state waiver for kindergarten entry. It really hurts our children when families have the option to start their kids at an even younger age. Every early childhood expert will tell you that every month matters and makes a difference. So having the kids starting even earlier is hurting them in the long run. We also have programs, like you said, we have the ELC. It's a huge initiative to partner with families. You saw one event this weekend, but we also are at every city event, the farmers markets. We're trying to, more than ever, meet parents where they're at and introduce them to the district and what we have to offer. We also fund Parent University, which is a program offered, I believe, 4 times a year at 4 different sites to welcome families into our buildings, to partner with the teachers, to learn more about how to support their children at home. These are only a few. And as much as we have, it wouldn't be enough. But I do feel optimistic that more and more families are seeing the need for earlier education.
Yes.
The indication being that we're at capacity. And so we are on a positive trend, I believe, and we're capitalizing on that.
Great.
There are also opportunities in the public libraries that many of our parents do not take advantage to. I appreciate this platform, and if community members are watching, I think it's a word of mouth. The 4 opportunities for the parenting classes, I was just looking at the flyer. It's a great opportunity for parents as well if we can continue to spread the message that
Yes.
parents need to be
Our-
in these sessions.
Yeah, definitely. Our public library offers a lot of sessions for younger kids.
Right.
Stories that are being read to on a weekly basis, so families can take advantage of that.
We actually held one of our ELC meetings at the library so that everybody on that committee can see
Yeah.
what they have to offer, and it's beyond reading. And I was even surprised to see what they have to offer, so if only, and one recommendation was for school PTA meetings to host their meetings there, because they're more than willing to give those parents a tour of what they have to offer.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? I do want to speak to this because it's a committee initiative that's very dear to me, and I want to thank Ms. Faraj for leading it. I also want to thank the committee members in the last meeting, in the previous meeting. They were so engaged. They were so into improving, the proficiencies, improving, and engaging in the sense of ideas and talking about what we could do. So I really want to thank them, thank Ms. Faraj. I really think this is a good initiative. Accountability is big. We have amazing teachers, administrators in the district, but we also have some challenges that we have to deal with, and some schools are performing better than others. There's grade gaps. There's kids that are 2, 3 grades behind. We have to figure out how to get these kids to where they need to be. And in order to do that, we have to have goals, and we have to set the expectation. Without goals, it's kind of, it's going to be the status quo. And with this way, even though initially, and I heard the word attainable, I don't want the group to think attainable is, we pick a number that's easy for them to meet. It's really based on the school, based on, what the school need. But in saying that, when we say accountability, it's not to put the administrators in a position where it's sink or swim. We want to put them in a situation where we could provide them the resource, the things that they need to get those kids up to speed. We also need to learn from schools that are performing at a high level. We have some schools who are doing really well, and so we have to ask, what are you doing that's best practice, and how we could do that. So for me, this is a great program. I do want to ask that, first of all, commend the dashboard. I think the dashboard is an amazing tool, but not a lot of people know about it. And I will ask the district to publicize that, to let the community know that there is a dashboard, because when you have something that's good, you have to really market it. You have to allow people to see what's out there. Most people don't know it exists. So we need to do that, because I'm really impressed with Dr. Patterson and the work that he's done. So I would ask that we share that and let the parents know, because it gives you a level of details, from WIDA to MSTEP to iReady to, a lot of things. I don't know, Ms. Faraj, I think it's going to have attendance and absenteeism is a part of that.
We do.
We do, okay.
do.
So it gives you, we have 4 tools right now, and MSTEP is the only one that's shared by the state. With this tool, we could see all the different tools, all the data from the different tools, and parents could see it, administrators could see it, teachers could see it, and it really keeps us on our toes. But, I think it's a really great tool. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that one of the promising strategies that the district has moved into implementing is called explicit instruction, and that has to do how instruction is delivered and how students are engaged. We have close to 80 teachers in the district who are attending the conference this summer. 9 of us attended last year, and we started rolling out in the district and training teachers and principals. And we have close to 80 teachers who were interested, which is very exciting. We hope to see that improving and transforming instruction in the classroom. And that's the only factor really that we can rely on. If instruction doesn't change, where the boots are on the ground, then we can't see different results. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next, thank you, Ms. Faraj. Our next presentation is the cybersecurity update.
Yes.
Bob Attee will be approaching the podium to talk more about that.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Stewart, President Aljahmi, trustees. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to share a little bit about the findings that we had for the third-party cybersecurity audit that we were able to have conducted over the past summer. And really just to spend a couple of minutes to thank the team that was involved in it, including my network administrators, Executive Director Tom Wall, that participated in a series of interviews, evidence gathering sessions, and meeting with our auditors as well too. So this was a long period of time that we spent really going through, delving into where we were looking at with the audit, and so we were able to get a lot of good information from this. So we had some outstanding areas where we were doing phenomenal. And part of that is catching when there are vulnerabilities. We do that in a timely manner. Making sure that we manage our audits, our audit log, so we kind of know who has access, why, and everything like that. And then looking at our network infrastructure and how we manage when assets come into the district, where they go, and we have a process for all of this. So these were areas where we got 100%. Some areas that were identified that we're doing really good are with data protection, with securing and configuring our enterprise assets like our desktops, our laptops, and the software that comes with them, our access control management. So part of that is who gets access to what programs and what level, and so we have a way to track that. If there are any errors with that, we're able to follow up on that, as well as our email and web protections as well. The areas that were identified for improvement were our inventory and enterprise assets. And so with that one right there, it's if someone has a laptop that they bring in that has malware that's not issued by the district, it can access the network. And so that was one of the areas that was flagged. Also having inventory control with software assets. We had an older program that we were using at the time and have since updated that. So I'll get to that a little bit more with our remedies that we've done. And then service provider management. So we have different vendors that require access to our network for various programs, like with operations, with patching various things as well too. And so one of the areas that was identified is who do we know has access? And so we've taken steps to improve that as well too. So some of the things that we've been able to do to address unauthorized access, we explored the option of port locking and looking at other options. It's very costly at this time to be able to do that. And so we are kind of looking at other options with that. In terms of establishing and maintaining our software inventory, we've updated the current inventory program that we're using, which provides more accurate information in there, provides dates when we were purchasing the software, what version it is. And so we've taken more steps to make that understandable in terms of where we're at with everything. And then in terms of addressing unauthorized software as part of the access, what we've done is establish a standard tools list so that we know what everyone will have in the district so that unauthorized programs do not get installed by the network team, techs, or also eliminating anyone else's access from installing them. We did provide training initially with our required training courses, but what we realize is helping staff and administrators to understand a little bit more about the risks that are out there with the different vulnerabilities. We will be updating our required course. And then finally, with the list of service providers, we did provide a paper update with that. So if there's ever a network emergency, we can access that and know exactly who to go to for any types of emergencies. Any questions?
Trustee Mazza?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attee, for this presentation. I just wanted to also thank you for implementing the two-step authentication. I think that is way overdue and very much needed for now day and age of easy access to passwords and or bots being able to know what the password is and getting into systems and having another set of walls is necessary to block them from accessing our assets or our electronic assets. So, but even with that, unfortunately, human error is probably, you may agree, the number one reason why systems get hacked. And people clicking on things where they're not supposed to be clicking on gets the system into a compromised state. So besides training, what else are we doing to educate staff, and especially people who have privileges to access these systems, of being cognizant of those spammed emails or phishing emails that are coming through? And we've had a lot with, especially with students too.
So there's multiple factors that we are taking into account. So with student passwords, one of the things that we did over the past year is we strengthened the student passwords. So we've changed them because it used to be, and I don't want to give away too much information, it used to be very easy to hack. And so we've put systems in place. And what we're looking at doing with student passwords is doing a regular reset and also limiting the permissions in terms of which levels of students are able to send out external emails as well as internal emails. So that way it propagates things from being able to be sent out. We have a quarantine rule which is in effect. And so what we're able to do is when certain keywords with known types of phishing emails go out, it gets flagged into this area and we are able to identify it and prevent it from being released to staff or students or external people as well too. With our phishing simulations, we do these during the course of the year where we look at some of the most frequent ones that are out there and try to simulate what it looks like and see where staff are at and then give them some of the tells that we're able to see when we see those out there.
Okay. And one more thing, and my kids probably are going to hate me for this, but can we block YouTube Shorts?
There are some things that we are able to do with that, okay. Absolutely. We can definitely block YouTube Shorts. Now I've become the #1 villain in the district.
Go ahead, Trustee Bazey.
From a phishing standpoint, I know that there are some, enterprise networks where they'll send out basically a test phishing type email, and people scored how many people. It wasn't a real phishing email, but it was sent out. It seems legitimate, and then you see which employees do and don't need additional training. Do we do any of that?
We do that.
Okay.
There's a site called GoFish, and our former webmaster, who's now the supervisor of networks, is very proficient in creating a lot of these to make them look exactly like the types of emails that we're seeing that are circulating now. So much so that we have the spoofing of different email addresses, making it look like it's got our school logo in there as well too. And so that is something that we do.
And be aware, Trustee Bazey, board members get them too. They test us as well.
It's good.
I've had several over the years.
Good.
Any other questions? I have a comment and then a question. So I know we seem like phishing is one of our biggest problem right now. And what tools do we use to prevent phishing emails? What are we using right now?
So we have, we use Google, Gmail and everything like that. And so we have several different factors in that. So as I mentioned before, a little bit about the quarantine that's in there. We're able to catch a lot of those in the quarantine and also set up rules when we start to notice patterns. One of the things that I am able to do with our Google suite that we have is if something does get through and I get notified, I am able to go and retract it from any inboxes that it gets sent to like that. And I can do that relatively quickly because there are certain parameters that I have set up. If there was ever something that had malware that was delivered to the district, someone clicked on it, we do have a filter, and I can speak to it specifically right there, but we have endpoint detection and response with it as well too. And so that way we would be able to segment the malware away from everything else and be able to retract other things that were sent out from it.
Yeah, the reason I ask is if you're getting a lot of phishing emails, is the tool, the Google Suite, is it doing what it needs to do? That's a question I'll defer to you. Second thing that I want to ask, comment on, from a training perspective, what to click, what not to click. I know right now HFC is using KnowBe4 for training, and we used it in the past in my previous work. So it's a tool, and I don't know if the trustees have seen it. We're being requested to take training like left and right. So that's something that will help train the staff and force them to be able to know when to click, when not to click. Now, there's more to it. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, we asked you to do this assessment, but we also promised and said, if there is any issues that you have or help that you need to implement some of the deficiencies, to let us know. We didn't want to put the burden on you. Is there anything that you need from the board to make our system more secure from, from a resource, from anything?
I would definitely say there's a few things that we would like to explore. These things might be able to go into a bond based on the cost that we have there. Like the NAC protections would be something that secures us from unauthorized assets. That would be a major piece. And KnowBe4, as you mentioned it right there, was something we actually were exploring. We want to look at, there's options that districts do just with staff, but we were looking at also being able to provide that option with students in there. There's training videos that would go well with our digital curriculum that media specialists are able to use that would really help them with digital citizenship, protecting their privacy and their rights. That would go well with that. And so that is something that we definitely would want to look at towards the fall to be able to implement in addition to our regular training that we do. That way we have two approaches where we can reach all staff.
Yeah, I did hear you say the bond. I would not, it's a long and tedious process. I would focus more on what's needed and not wait for the bond, because there's some things that, we asked you to do this. We know cybersecurity is not something that an IT department of our size might be able to handle. Sometimes we have to go outside and help with implementation and doing things. So if there's anything that you need from the board, as we ask you to do the cybersecurity assessment, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Attee, don't go too far. If you and Mr. Andrews can please share the work order update now. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. Want to give you a quick update where we're at with our new maintenance request system. First, I want to start off with a quick recap of how we got to where we're at. The district uses a system called FMX. This is a system very similar to what other districts use, but it's limited to how many district staff can use it for a few reasons. One of those reasons is licensing. We only have so many users that can use it. Another one is training. It's a very complex system, so if the request isn't submitted properly, it could get lost, and we don't want that to happen. And then more importantly, we want all the requests, we want to promote the request to go through the building maintenance level first, or building maintenance team first, so either they can help resolve this issue first before it needs assistance from our district trades or maybe even a contractor. But we did see a need to be able to have everybody have access to submit a request. So with Mr. Attee's help and his team, they created a new system that gives everybody the opportunity to submit a request. We implemented this system near the beginning of the school year, and since then there's been 1,400 work orders submitted. And now that we're halfway through the school year, Mr. Attee and his team also did a survey for us, and we want to give you a little bit of information on that survey. So out of the respondents, we had 209 respond. Out of the respondents, about 2/3 of them are aware of the system. And out of those, about another 2/3 have used the system. And out of the staff that have used it, about 85% of them, 84%, 86% of them perceived it in a positive way. We have received since implementation and also with the survey some feedback where we can do better. Some of those are that staff, they prefer to send an email to the building engineer. Some believe that the process adds a little bit more time to their already busy day. There's also some lack of communication once a work order has been closed out. And some of the options in the system are a little bit confusing or irrelevant. So as we've received this feedback, we've tweaked the system. We see the need for improvements. We knew there was going to be some improvements with the new system, but all in all, we think that it's perceived well, and we're going to continue to use it and make the needed adjustments.
All right, any questions? Good. Trustee Musil?
I just want to say great job. I mean, this is something that the union members have raised, and you guys got on top of it.
Yeah,
and
I
got
can't take
something
any credit.
for it.
Mr. Attee and his
Definitely.
team
Great job.
created
Yeah.
this. They did a great
Really
job.
happy to see it.
Yeah.
Trustee Vazzy?
This is a question. I'm looking at one of the comments here. It says it requires that it needs to be accessed on a desktop computer. Is it mobile friendly as well? If people want to, where they're they're viewing a problem, taking a picture, they want to submit something right there from their phone?
Staff can use this from their phone as well, too. Part of what we did is it's a workflow system, so you've got to log into the Dearborn Public Schools website. Primarily why it was put like that is teachers have desktops on their desk and everything, so that's the primary station a lot of teachers use. Those that have Chromebooks or laptops could use those, or phones as well, too.
Trustee Petlicoff?
When I looked at, and I'm not going to reveal which schools, but there was a handful of schools that had a much larger volume of utilizing this system than others. Is that only because they were enthusiastic about it, or because we're really seeing a lot more issues at a couple of buildings as compared to others?
I think it comes down personally from the feedback I received is the building engineer that's promoting it. So
It's a
quite-
little more
yeah,
awareness of
yeah.
put this through rather than, because I'm wondering, when you read the critiques of people saying, well, it doesn't suit is that then from the other buildings who are not necessarily bought into it completely yet?
When we implemented it, we did an email blast. We also talked about it at a general admins meeting, but really what promoted this the most was the building engineers. That's in my opinion of where this was more successful at some buildings than others.
Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, Trustee Sibyl.
Can you explain what data is coming through or what it looks like on the back end? Like, can we leverage this proactively for the future to kind of go back and track and say what types of issues we're facing, what repetitive issues we're facing, so that we can consider that for, future budget, facilities issues, et cetera?
Absolutely. So while we're able to get this, what happens is a PDF goes out to the engineers so that they know what's specific to their building. On the back end side like that, we have a spreadsheet where we're able to track it by building, by room, by type of problem as well too. So we are able to get that information and share that with building principals and engineers if they need that, and Mark and his team as well.
Awesome.
Trustee Bazzi?
So to kind of piggyback on that, is it easy to, I don't know what interval we would have, but be able to say, hey, look, these are the top 3, top 4 categories where we're getting, or things you may recognize, hey, the older buildings are all saying about A, B, C, D, E. That gives us an idea of like planning and having, I don't want to add more work, but if it's easy in the system to be able to pull those out, and we know that there's a pattern of boiler
A trend,
yeah.
issues or something like that, it'd be good to know.
That's real easy to do. Like I say, we can toggle back and forth, get to the spreadsheet like that. And then if we have a set parameter with the dates, we can kind of look at the timestamps like that and then toggle by issue like that. Very easy to do like that. When that information's requested, we could do that.
Okay. So great job. I know one of the reason for doing this was staff members were, they didn't know of a process to ask for help, whether it's something in their room, at the building, and now we have a way. To your point, we need to promote it more. I mean, we can't rely on the engineers to be able to promote it. I think a lot of times, for me, if somebody goes to the engineer, they should always request that they fill out the form so that they could track it. So that's one thing. I like the question on the type of data, because even for us, as we go through the bonds, we go through things, I actually love that question a lot, because we could see some of the issues that we're struggling with at a building level, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's anything that's hazardous to our kids. So that's really important. I do have an ask, when we get the brief on a monthly basis, and I'm not asking to do on a weekly basis because we get it weekly, but on the final week, it would be nice to show the type of data for building maintenance is not as a dashboard, but more as a
summary.
A summary of the data. That would be really good. It would give.
Maybe every 3 months. I think quarterly would probably be just as sufficient to not strain.
The data is very easy for them to see, and I could see Bob, and I see them shaking their head, so I'm looking for a confirmation.
Yeah.
If it's easy once a month, and if we say that to the trustees' comment, if we see later on that it's not needed, monthly and quarterly would work, but I would love for us to start, especially since we have a bond, we have other things going on, it would be nice to see some of the things that are going on at the buildings.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Attee said we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If no other questions, I want to thank you for doing this.
No,
These are two major accomplishments that you guys did, especially Bob.
Yeah.
And this is big for the staff, so thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Our
We
pleasure.
want to make sure we share these accomplishments and not be dismissive of them after putting a lot of work into this. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Our pleasure.
Thank you.
I have only 3 more updates. We have some great news. One of our assistant principals actually was advocating for our elementary students. Well, let me pause. We have a Ramadan program for lunch where we provide students who are fasting with a take-home lunch if they're in secondary. And one of our APs was advocating for elementary students to also have that option. And Emmy Krusty, our food service director, was able to offer that, so we're pleased to announce that. In addition to secondary, our elementary students who are fasting will take a take-home meal as well in Ramadan. Second, the Alberta Muirhead Teacher of the Year nominations are open. All of these students are going to nominate somebody. I know they are. It's open now through March 6th. I encourage students at all grade levels and across all departments to take the time to recognize a teacher who has positively impacted them. Nomination forms can be completed online, and the link can be found on our district website and on the Dearborn Chamber's website. You don't know what it'll mean to a teacher to be nominated. Finally, we had our huge ELC event, Discover and Play, this last Saturday. It was very well attended. It was very positive. It's a true expression of what Dearborn Schools is. You had dozens of teachers volunteering their time with smiles on their faces, interacting with families. I know trustees Mosip and Sober were able to see it. You stopped by.
I missed you, yeah.
I saw you in the video, but I didn't see you there.
Yeah,
I was there the whole
there,
time.
yeah.
We were
It's
busy.
great. Yeah.
And I know all of you would have been there had you had the chance. But I hope that you also felt the energy there. It was positive.
It was amazing.
It's what Dearborn Schools is, day in and day out in every school. We just don't get to see that all the time because we're here. But when it was just so exciting to see so many happy families, and they received resources, activities, and they made connections with our Dearborn staff and beyond. It's a collaboration with many different partnerships across Greene County. So next month, I'll be sure to share in our commendations all the teachers and staff members who were volunteering that day. And finally, a huge shout out to Chris Messero, who really took the lead on her own this year. Last year we partnered. This year I couldn't as much. And she really knocked it out of the park. So thank you to Chris. And I'm done.
Next item.
The next, I really love the rounds of applause that are happening after, I like it. All right, next item is commendation, recognitions and acknowledgements, and starting with commendations.
Okay. Good evening, district members, board president, fellow trustees, and our superintendent. My name is Yara Kassir, and I am currently a junior at Henry Ford Early College.
And my name is Maryam Al-Qadri, also a junior at Henry Ford Early College. With that being said, let us begin with today's commendations.
Commendations to Makalo Yunus Principal Muhammad Abu Saleh, Instructional Coach Rana Halawiya, the ELA teaching staff, and District Teacher Leader Maria Wychek for the exceptional job hosting the Melvindale Northern Allen Park team and their superintendent to learn how the language arts curriculum is implemented. The feedback from the MEL NAP superintendent coach and teachers was astounding.
They were particularly impressed by the welcoming atmosphere, professionalism of the staff, and the high level of student engagement across the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classrooms. It was noted how articulately the students explained their lessons and how effectively they amplify ELA resources are being utilized to support all learners, including our multilingual and special education students.
Commendations to the winners of this year's Dearborn PTA Council Reflections Art Contest. Winners are also entered into state and national reflections competitions. This year, students from Becker, Bryant, Duval, Howard, Limburg, Miller, Oakman, Whitmore Bawless, and William Ford participated.
The winning students will be recognized during the PTA Council's annual Founders Day dinner on March 26. Winners include first place, Jana Harp, Visual Arts, Bryant Middle School. Second place, Mira Jalan and Louisa Jadallah, Film, William Ford Elementary. Third place, Ayat al-Saadi, Visual Arts, William Ford Elementary. And fourth place, Aisha Shamsuddin, Photography, Lindbergh Elementary.
For the high schools, commendations to Dearborn High School student Ahmad Zawharir. He was recognized in January at the Metro Detroit Model United Nations Conference at Walid Lake Western High School. Representing the Democratic Republic of Congo in the Security Council, Ahmad was named a consummate diplomat for embodying the spirit of the UN by influencing outcomes through intelligent discourse, compromise, and upholding decorum.
Commendations to Edswold Ford High Senior Asya Chowdhury, who was recognized by the Michigan Technical University chapter of the Society of Women Engineers with a Certificate of Merit. Chowdhury was honored for her outstanding achievement and excellence in science and mathematics. She was nominated for the award by her counselor and is also a student at the Dearborn Center for Math, Science, and Technology.
Commendations to the Bryant Middle School student who participated in the 2026 Future City competition, sponsored by the Engineering Society of Detroit. The team earned 3 rewards: the Best Use of Energy, Herbert W. Link Visionary Award, and the Outstanding Food Packaging Award.
Future City is a project-based learning program where students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grades imagine, research, design, and build model cities of the future. This year's theme was Farm to Table. Participating students included Morgan Stein, Dalia Beydoun, Hussein Beydoun, Celia Wenzel, Tanya Coronado, Ramaz Zaghir, Ann Wolski, Diana Swade, Emily Salmi, Abdullah Manassar, Sophie Rassas, and Ava Shab. The team sponsor is Mr. Neil McLellan.
Thank you all for listening and acknowledging our commendations and having us here tonight.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Yara and Miriam. Next item.
Our next item is employee recognition. Sorry about that. Next item is employee recognition.
Good evening. There's 3 employees we'd like to recognize this evening. I believe one of them is here, but she'd prefer to stay in the audience. Michaela Bowen. Michaela's in the blue. Michaela. Michaela Bowen is a school social worker at Woodworth Middle School, and this is her 6th year with Dearborn Public Schools. She is nominated for going the extra mile every single day. Her contagious passion and unwavering dedication to both students and staff make her an essential and cherished member of the Woodworth family and of the district. Thank you, Michaela. We're thankful for you. Non-instructional employee is Hutaf Jadallah, who is not with us in the audience today. She is the secretary at Henry Ford Elementary School. This is her 5th year with Dearborn Schools. She's nominated for going above and beyond, whether she is acting as a bridge to the community, helping a student, or supporting staff. She does it with a smile. Her patience and positive attitude make a world of difference every single day. Thank you, Hutaf. Hopefully you're watching. And our administrator of the month is, our administrator employee is Sean Donahue, who I've had the pleasure of really working closely with and getting to know through my time here. Sean is the Assistant Director of Plant Operations. This is his 36th year with our district, with Dearborn Schools. Wow. Thank you, Sean. And every time you see Sean, he has a huge smile on his face. He's just definitely a presence full of cheer and positivity. He's nominated for consistently exceeding expectations, demonstrates unwavering support to staff and administration through collaboration and availability around the clock. That includes when the wind knocks out the power in a building, or anything at the buildings go wrong, or we have a flood or a water main break. Sean is available around the clock. Sean is committed to his responsibilities, often dedicating personal time outside of regular hours, including nights and vacation days, to ensure the buildings are prepared and functioning properly. He maintains a positive attitude, approaches tasks with gratitude, and consistently displays professionalism. Much gratitude for Sean and his 36 years with Dearborn Schools. Thank you.
All right, next item is acknowledgement of donations. Yeah.
Good evening, President Aljahmi and members of the board. We have 2 donations to recognize today. The first donation is $500 has been offered to Ethel Ford High School by the Colina Foundation to be used for Ethel Ford High School's special education class to attend Ann Arbor Hands-on Museum Interactive STEAM exhibits. The second one is for $3,000 has been offered to Cheyenne Thacker at House School by the Detroit Lions Charity to be used to support the behavior and sensory needs of our special education students at House School. Thank you very much.
So next item.
The next item is the approval of minutes. We're looking for approval of minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meetings. Study session about infrastructure needs, meetings. Study session for infrastructure needs, January 5th, 2026, Board Report 25-88. Organizational meeting, January 12th, 2026, Board Report 25-89. Regular P12 meeting, January 12th, 2026, Board Report 25-90. City Relations Committee, January 14th, 2026, Board Report 25-91. And study session about the superintendent search for January 26th, 2026, Board Report 25-92. I'm looking for an action for one of the board members to make any necessary corrections and move approval of these minutes.
So moved.
Support.
So motion by Mazib, supported by Petlikov. Are there any correction? If not, or any objections to the motion? Hearing none, then can we attach a unanimous roll call to this motion?
Yes.
All right, motion approved. Next item.
Next item is union leadership commentary. This section of the Board of Education meeting is being added to further enhance the already strong commitment and longtime partnership between district administration and all bargaining units. Both instructional and non-instructional union members serve on a wide variety of standing and ad hoc committees that drive the work and decision-making in the Dearborn Public Schools. In addition, administration meets monthly with the leadership team of all unions, as well as a group meeting with union presidents. These meetings are now required but are an extension of the collaborative partnership that has long existed in the Dearborn Public Schools. This section will further enhance the commitment to valuing all suggestions, views, and opinions brought forth by all staff members in the district. And according to my paper here, Mr. President, we have with us tonight Ms. Kathi Martin from DFT, the Dearborn Federation of Teachers.
Good evening. I feel like I've been coming up here asking you all for a lot of stuff lately. December, I asked you to visit the schools. Still want you to do that. January, I asked you to look at the AI glasses. I hope you guys are looking at that. And today I'm here because I've had conversations with people here and there, but I want to address you all as one body. Regarding what's happening at our secondary level and students leaving Dearborn to go to an online school where they're not necessarily getting the same level of education, and that's costing us students. I feel like we're very lucky in Dearborn. We don't lose our elementary kids to charter schools like some other districts have to deal with, and we have a great, most of our residents do attend school here. But when you get to secondary, high school specifically, we have students who are leaving at very, very young ages, going to an online school, getting a high school diploma in a matter of months, not even a full year, and moving forward to go on to maybe college or things in the area. And I know you all are also the board over another body. And I'm really hoping that there's something that we can start implementing here to help keep our students. I know that we can talk to legislators and we can try to get things implemented in Lansing. That's going to take a long time. If we do something here, we might be able to see faster results. And there has been talks about coming up with like accelerated programs so that students who want to graduate sooner are able to, but that's also something that would take a while. It's not something we're going to be able to do in the next year or two. We're losing kids every day. We need to figure out something that we can maybe do now to keep the kids that we have. I know one of my ideas is community engagement and reaching out to families directly and explaining to them the importance of high school and explaining to them that a 16-year-old taking college classes isn't the same as an 18-year-old taking college classes. Mental development, emotional maturity, and those types of things. So I really hope that this is something that we can really address and talk about and keep as many kids as we can, because regardless of everything, we are a great school district. We offer kids a lot of things that online schools don't offer them. And I'd hate to see them leave and maybe realize, hey, getting a job 2 years sooner than I otherwise would isn't really worth what I missed out on. So I really hope that we can all address this together.
Trustee Zar?
Do you have, hi Kathy, thank you. Do you have any idea of what the numbers actually are?
They keep changing. So I don't know the actual numbers, and it's hard to get. I mean, I think the district has that data because usually when they leave, they tell them, did you move? Did you wherever? So the district should have the actual numbers.
Do you
We do. We have it. I don't know it offhand.
roughly, any idea, like, I mean,
Schools they went to, I believe it was a couple months ago, and we had about 220 students going to the school that Ms. Martin is referring to. And that was
9 through 12? 200 from 9 through 12?
Yes,
Okay.
Total.
yeah.
Total.
Over what time period?
Like over the last year?
From winter of 2025, this is 26, right? Winter until fall.
Okay,
Yes.
and what is roughly our, so 220, what's roughly our 9 through 12 population? 4,000?
Probably a little over 6.
Around
Thousand.
6,000?
Counting
Yes.
So
early
200 out of 6, I mean, I'm not trying to, I just want to understand
Yeah.
what the, So around 200, a little over 200 out of around 6,000, which is like whatever. It's a little percentage, but I mean,
It's a
so,
high percentage.
huh?
It is, yeah, we have a trend.
We have a
And
what? A
we,
trend?
we have a trend of students going there, some regretting, very few regretting going there, but again, earning their diploma and high school diploma does not entitle them to come back after they've earned the diploma.
Sure, and then, sorry, I just have a follow-up question. So when this has been, this option has been available for them for how long? Long time. And you're seeing in the last few years a big jump? Okay, and it sounded like you were, when you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you were aboard over to another institution too, and you're saying, hey, maybe, well, it sounded like, sorry, maybe you were saying like, hey, maybe if someone gets a degree like that, they shouldn't be able to attend this other, I mean, what kind of solutions would you be suggesting other than community, community engagement is one, but what other solutions might you be suggesting?
So this is all, it's hearsay. So this is what I've heard. I don't know if it's only happening with one person or with a bunch of people, but my understanding is they're attending other institutions and they're not successful. They're failing.
The ones that are leaving our high schools to go to a virtual high school?
No. The ones who are getting the online degree.
Getting the virtual degree and then they're not doing well
Not
after.
degree, diploma, sorry.
Sure,
Yes, once they move on to other institutions,
they're
not doing well at all. And my understanding, again, hearsay, is that they're being placed into classes, they're not taking like entrance tests. And when they should be placed in like a remedial class, they're being placed in maybe a 100 level class instead of a 90s level class, and they're not doing well. So maybe implementing more stringent, I don't want to take it away from someone who that truly is their path. You know, but I do believe that there's a handful of students who this works for them. And I believe that there's there's a number who are thinking this is just an easy way out and I can just quickly, leapfrog everything. So I don't want to say, black and white, don't do this, but maybe create another, like, not a hurdle for hurdle's sake, but a hurdle to ensure success.
And if I could just add to that. So I truly believe that we should stop this program. It's not a matter of black and white or gray. I don't think they're, what they offer is.
It's not our program.
It's state-sanctioned school.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is it's a state sanction. If it's accepted by, Wayne County, Henry Ford, or so on, there's nothing that we could do to stop them. Now, we are working with State Rep Alabas Farhad. The mayor's helping us. Ms. Sue's been involved. Dr. Maleko has reached out to me and said he's willing to help. So we're trying to get Senator Santana to be involved. So at the state level, they could put guidelines on them and to prevent them. Kids are graduating in 3 months to 6 months. I know 8 kids. If you're looking for real numbers, I know 8 kids that play in the youth program, basketball program, and I know them personally. And I know they're great kids, but to graduate in 6 months and 4 months, it's not, it doesn't make sense.
I wonder, a couple of things, is that, the state has a requirement for high school graduation. You have to have this many credits in English, this many in math. How are they expediting this fast track and still meeting the state requirements for graduation and getting a diploma that's considered a legitimate diploma?
So when I asked the kids, one of them said, and I quote without mentioning names, you could easily cheat. You could easily do things, ChatGPT. It's not a program that's monitored. It's not a program that somebody is trying to make sure you get a good education. So in this case, you graduate. And like somebody said, you can't go back to high school. Once you get the degree, It's not like, okay, I realize I messed up, I could go back. Once you get the degree, you can.
And to a little more detail, they're basically told you have to complete like these 3 assignments to pass this class.
So they call 3 assignments
Or I don't know
a
the exact
semester?
number. Yes, so it's not semesters. It's just a little, you complete this work and then you've completed this class and you can go on to the next one. So it's not like you have to.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam.
Okay, trustee.
Thank you. Well, thank you, President Martin, for your remarks. And President Aljahmi in previous meetings have brought this issue forward. And it's definitely offering students substandard education. And once they, as you mentioned, get to a college, they realize, oh, this is challenging, I cannot handle this, and they drop out. That's the reality, what's happening. We have that data to back it up at Henry Ford College. Students who get those degrees, they have to go back, and I've seen this firsthand, and take so many remedial courses, and they have to pay for those. If it's not getting paid by financial aid, they're exhausting their financial aid in remedial courses for a number of years. And it's a very small number of students who do get those kind of degrees end up with a bachelor's degree or even an associate's degree. So for parents out there, this is not, and students alike, it's not a shortcut. It might be a shortcut for the short term, but believe it or not, you're gonna struggle further down the line. And I believe the major solution for this is statewide. I mean, no matter what we can do and market our programs and say, this is what we're offering at the schools and the sports and the full high school experience that you do get, the memories that you can reflect back on 20 years, even back, 50 years back, those will not be replaced with a 6-month online program. So I would like to accelerate what we can do in our control is reaching out to legislatures and seeing if they can introduce such a bill. Because with AI, you could finish that course in an amount of minutes by a few
And not
clicks.
have done any of the work whatsoever.
Right. So that needs to be definitely addressed. But at the same time, I think we can look at the college and take a bold move in saying those online courses or online degrees should be not accepted, or at least have some ways of getting the students to test.
I believe we are.
We do have it
Yeah.
we do have admission tests, but it just puts them at remedial courses. But you have to pass a proficiency test at least to get to those remedial courses. And that's one way, even if you're turning students away to go to other community colleges, but that is within our board's control to look into while we're investigating that with the state. So thank you for raising this very important issue.
Thank you, trustee.
I just want to remind everybody, though, a community college is supposed to be an open access environment. So starting to put up roadblocks just for this one particular online school, and we all know who it is. We've been hearing about it now for several years. We're all disheartened by it. The really discouraging thing is that parents have bought into it and have allowed their students to talk them into letting me do the fast track without doing the work, and I'm going to get ahead. And they've really hoodwinked the parents into believing that this is going to not be a detriment to their child's future. And it is. So I think, one, we've got to partner with our parents, the PTAs. Everybody's got to get out there and alert these parents that this is not the way to go. I mean, and then we have to get the state to shut this thing down. I mean, this is ridiculous that the state has turned a blind eye to the whole program and is not recognizing that it's such a big problem. So, yeah, we really need to push the state legislature. And I don't think it should take as long as, I mean, if they can do things with other scam artist businesses, then they ought to be able to fast track this if they recognize the harm it's doing.
Here's the issue. It's harming us far more than it's harming a lot of other places. You know, word of mouth spreads, and
That's why it's grown, yes.
but other places, there are a lot of kids who do want to get the full high school experience, who you couldn't pay them, you know, whereas our district's a little bit different. And
That's why we have to get with the parents and,
Yeah.
and explain, get a stronger message out there that this is not something to be encouraged.
So if I, Fatme?
But it sounds like we're the most impacted. Almost none mentioned that they have this issue in their district. So I do believe it's reaching out to the families and to the community, and also providing what the community wants us to provide based on what we can do.
Yeah, and just to add, when I reached out to the state board and to the superintendent before, Glenn.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, they've never heard of it. They've never heard of this. So it's hard to advocate for something that you've never heard of, so.
And I had talked to Senator Santana about it, and she also hadn't heard of it until I explained it to her.
Yeah, she didn't respond to me.
Oh,
So maybe I need
she
to
was
talk
at-
to you.
She was at one of my meetings.
Trustee Behez.
Question, I think you had mentioned that a lot of these kids that are doing this are trying to fast track so they can go to college. So a lot of these kids are college bound or want to be college bound?
I don't know the exact number,
Okay.
to be honest with you, but I mean, that's what they're selling. Like, oh, I can go to school faster and get a job faster. But when you have that type of high school diploma, I mean, how successful can you be?
I guess my question becomes, what is the motivation for these kids to do that, and what are their next steps? You know, if most of them are thinking, I'm going to do this fast track and I'm going to start college early, right? That's a particular tact. If there's other reasons, you know, understanding that too helps with that messaging and explaining that's not the solution you're looking for.
One thing I heard when we were working the homecoming booth this summer was, it's just easier.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
It's the easy way out.
Mm-hmm. So,
And there's other factors, but.
Just
go ahead,
one
Trustee.
thing, just to add on the legislatures, if we can get a letter, an official letter from the entire board, since we're all in agreement, sent to the state legislature about this.
If you write it, I'll sign it.
I will.
Trustee Zahar, do you have anything?
I guess my question is to take a step back, if Fatme is correct, and we're more impacted by this than other school districts, then my first question is for us to really figure out why. Why? What's special about us, or not, or whatever, that we have, you know, a higher percentage of our students running to these things than others. We can't answer that tonight, but I'd like to know why, or why smart people think why, and that'll probably help us better tailor some sort of solution or some sort of way to attack this problem. But we definitely, I mean, obviously, community engagement is always a good thing. But maybe we might learn things that tell us other things need to be the answer too. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not smart enough to figure out what questions you ask to find out why, but
some of your colleagues might have an idea.
yeah, so I'd like to know why.
Any other questions? I think there's answers to the why, and maybe we could take it offline because it's hearsay. And I don't want to commit to
Right,
that.
I've heard
Yeah.
reasons why too, but I'm not gonna.
So because it's hearsay, but if we just focus on it from this, so I'm not against virtual schools. Virtual schools, if, you know, we offer virtual schools, and if somebody, it just when institutions such as this, that is not credible, that is not doing our kids right, it's not as if they're a competition, but I strongly don't believe they're doing right by our kids. I feel like at the legislative level, they need to be stopped or monitored. And I would ask, so one of the asks that I have for Ms. Sarur and the P12, the district, is we have a lobbyist. You know, we retain somebody to lobby for us. And I already asked before, we really need to ask them to advocate for us from that end. Because it's not about them going to a different school, we're losing kids. Our kids are being harmed. So if we could ask our lobbyists, if we could, maybe as this group, as a part of retention or student loss, maybe a committee or something, to get the, you have access, Trustee Petlikov, with the Santana. Alabas Faraj has been very gracious and willing to help with us. The mayor has contacted me. He's willing to work. He contacted Ms. Suru. So there is traction right now. We just need to continue the traction.
I've also addressed this with our statewide union, AFT Michigan, and they didn't know anything about it either. So it's hard, like, we all need to kind of speak up because we're kind of the only voices doing it around the state.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's an important topic. All right, next item.
Okay, I'm not seeing, there's no other union leadership here, correct?
No.
Okay. Next item is special reports and report.
Secretary, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I can ask that we move citizen participation since we have students who would like to address us. We'd like to send them home. If we can just switch the citizen participation with the special reports.
You have to ask for a vote it's got to be a motion and a vote to change the agenda.
Okay. Can we have a motion to change the student participation?
I'll move that we change, or we move up citizen participation ahead of special reports.
Second.
So we have a motion and a support by Mazhab and Zar. Any objection?
Just ask all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
objection? No. So let's go ahead and do that.
All right, the next item is citizen participation. Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action who are signed in by 7:10 p.m. or 10 minutes after the meeting by submitting a blue card to the board secretary may speak at this time. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items. Therefore, speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. There is a 3-minute time limit on comments made to the board. The first blue card I have is for Murtada Ali Abbas. Is that right?
No, Alaba.
I'm sorry?
Alaba.
Alaba. Oh, sorry. Got it. Alaba. Murtada Ali Alaba to speak to us. Go ahead.
So before I start, who watched the game last night?
We all did. The Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Super Bowl. So my name is Murtada Alaba, and I'm speaking here with my teammates Mohammed Owen, Suna Faki, Adil Al-Zubaydi, and Laith Al-Janabi. And I'm here on the behalf of the players of the Fortson football team as a 3-year varsity captain who has lived through the reality of this program every single day. Coach Mohammed Shaitu has given more to this program than most people will ever see. He has spent countless hours away from his family to pour into us as athletes and young men. That's not something you can measure on paper, but it matters. His dedication shows in the discipline, structure, and accountability that he brings to this team. Because of him, multiple players have been put in positions to succeed on the field, in school, and outside of football as a whole. From a results standpoint, this past season speaks for itself. We finished the season 8-3. 2 losses came early in the season, the first 2 games, and the last loss was to finish out our season. As a Division I athlete working to earn more Division I opportunities, stability is everything. College coaches view how stable a high school program is, and throughout my high school experience, I've been through several head coach changes, and that is not something a college would like for a student athlete. It affects development and opportunities for players like me who are trying to reach the next level. The reality of this is that the seniors are leading into the offseason with uncertainty. This uncertainty around our head coach has created anxiety in the locker room and distraction heading into a critical offseason. It feels one-sided, and the perception alone has caused controversy and division, something no program needs going into a new season. As a captain, I've seen many coaching styles. I can honestly say that Coach Shaitu puts in the most effort out of any coach I've ever seen, even person, matter of fact. He shows up, he stays late, and he fights for his players. If he's given one more year, not only does this program continue building forward, but players like me have a real chance to earn more opportunities that stability can bring. All we're asking for is fairness, transparency, and the chance to continue building something successful. Coach J2 has earned that chance, and this program deserves it. To him, it's more than football. It's preparing young men for success that comes along with, and call on the administration to stop causing instability and confusion. We call on the district and the athletic department to provide us with the support and encouragement that they have shown recently. Fortin is filled with pride, tradition, and legacy, and it is time we afforded the level of support from the administration, athletic department, and school district. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Hussein Faqih.
How are you guys doing today? Nice to officially meet all of you. I unfortunately was not as prepared as he was with the paper. It was kind of like a last second thing for me. But I'm gonna talk about what he talked about with Coach J2's dedication and his respect that he has for all of us, and not only us, but our program. I just recently moved here from California. I have not been here too long, but in my short amount of time that I've been here, I had a little situation going on with my school and my ability to pursue my athletics at the school. And not one time did Coach J2 stop believing in me, stop helping me, or create any sort of doubt that I will not be able to pursue athletics at my school. And from a person who's had a lot of athletic struggle through my high school career, going to 3 different high schools in 3 different years, from moving constantly, and unfortunately my freshman year I got hurt, that means a lot, showing his hard work and dedication and how much he cared for me, even though I just met him. And one reason I also think that it was a bad idea to reopen a head coaching position is because you, as the outside community of Dearborn, don't see what goes on inside our program. What he teaches us about respect, how to respect each other, how we respect him, how he respects us, is hard work. Like the other day, I walked into his office after all of us, our whole team, he came, we had a talk. They told us that they have reopened the position. I walked into his office and I sit down and I asked him, I was like, Coach, what do you think about this? And as I was asking him this, he was creating a schedule, a Ramadan schedule, what we're doing after Ramadan, what we're gonna do in the summer, our summertime schedule. And I asked him, I was like, if they just reopen his head coach position and you don't know what you're gonna do, why are you still working towards it? And his response was, because as long as I'm here and before they kick me out, I'll do everything to make sure you guys succeed and you guys have the best weapons you guys have to make it as far as you can. To me, that means a lot. And of course, to my teammates, it means a lot. All of us here are seniors, hopefully looking for a big senior season. And reopening this position creates a lot of instability, like Murtada said. And I don't think it would be good for our team. That's all I have for today. Thank you guys for your time.
Our next speaker is Nabil Al-Thulaya.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, President, and all the trustees. I have a message for all of you guys. And I know we elected you. Citizen, the community, they are watching you, and you have a hard job coming up. Superintendent, the college president, and the bonds. So what I'm gonna ask you, each of you guys, stay out of the politics. Choose the best candidate for Dearborn, for our city, for our kids, for our school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your clapping crowd left, so sorry. They clapped for everyone, but now they're gone.
All right.
All right, that's all the blue cards for today, Mr. President. Back to special reports.
Before that, there's board follow-up, right?
Board, sorry? Or board follow, I'm sorry. Sorry, Dan, we did it twice. Sorry. Yes, board follow-up on citizen participation.
Go ahead.
I know the students left, but they're gonna watch this. I just, aside from their talking point, I just want to commend them for the season that they performed last year. attended many Fortson games as somebody who went to Fortson, and obviously love seeing Friday nights and under the lights, and seeing how they came up against very tough teams, especially at the playoffs at Cass Tech in a cold night, and put up a fight. So I want to commend them, commend the coaches, commend all of the volunteers who are dedicating a lot of their time and effort to make sure that Fortson athletics stays as a strong mark and a strong trademark as it has been. And obviously we cannot comment on personnel matters, but posting a position is something that we've asked to be a consistent policy for all positions whenever the season ends for all these coaching positions. But again, the students are not here, but I hope that they get my message that they have this board's support, whatever they need, that we will get to them, because I am a huge believer in athletics. I believe it builds a lot of discipline, builds character, and it helps with academics, that we can blend those two together. And to Mr. Thalaya's comments, you can take it for me. I'm here definitely for the best interest for the students, and I hope that we do make the decision in their best interest of choosing the best candidates for both positions. Thank you.
Trustee Czar.
I echo everything Trustee Moses said about the students. Mr. Thalaya, to me, I always want to know, and I'm deeply appreciative of everything that you've done with us. PTA is an integral part of what we do. So my question is, I always wonder what people say when they say keep politics out. If that means like undue influence, we all agree, keep undue influence out of all of these things. But if politics means communicating with our constituents and seeing what they would like to see in a leader and taking that into account, then I believe in that sort of politics. If politics means that maybe saying that a potential candidate or a candidate's involvement in history and familiarity with our community can be a factor in our assessment of them, I believe in that too. So I always want to know what people mean when they say keep the politics out. You know, I just want to know what it means. If it means undue influence and corruption, of course we're all against that. But I do believe that it's our responsibility to be deeply involved in our community and how they feel and what they think. And my own personal view is if a candidate has that kind of familiarity with our community and history in it, that's a factor. It's not like the deciding factor. It's not maybe the most important factor, but it's a factor, and it can be a factor. So I would love to have a conversation with you after this meeting, which I hope ends before like 10 o'clock, that, to see what that means to you. And are we allowed to, can he come back up and say what it means to him? Is that allowed?
It's better not to do.
Better not to do that? Okay, great. So I'd love to have a conversation with you after the meeting, see what does this mean to you? Especially since you speak on behalf of a lot of people, and a lot of people reach out to you. What does that mean? I look forward to that conversation.
I think if I could speak, I think, and I had not intended in speaking on this today, but I think we need to respect the process, whether it's the president or the superintendent process. We need to allow the candidates to go through the process and fairly, and based on their qualification and their credential, apply for the job. When the candidates are in front of you, this is when you could ask questions and advocate for them if you think that they provide, whether it's the community engagement, whether it's other things. But I think we're doing a disservice when we're pushing for candidates and before the process starts. We should, at the college level, we have a committee of 25 people. Right now, it's probably 21, 22. We trusted them. We, as a board, approved that process. We approved the process and let people go through the process. Respect the confidentiality, the privacy. Right now, we're doing a lot of disservice to the college, to the district by interfering, by not respecting the process. We, as trustees, we're being tested. Our integrity is being tested right now. We're going to have possibly four new board members coming up for election. And I'm saying this plainly and directly, you're being tested. If you are influenced to vote for people that you should not, then you should not be reelected. So I caution all of us, and we have an amazing board. We have great people. You know, people might say, well, you know, you guys don't get along. We really get along. Sometimes we talk for hours, like me and Trustee Bazzi. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to talk, but let the process play off. Let's not use politics. And the word politics is, let's not politic to influence board members, put pressure on them, and strong arming them to vote for certain candidates. I don't know what more I can say on this, but leave it alone. Allow it to go through the process. Trust the committee at the college, and then trust the process here with the superintendent. We have Trustee Muzib who's leading it. So allow it to take place, and don't discourage anybody from applying by politicking for anyone. If somebody is qualified, then they have the right to interview and they have the right to get the job. It should not have anything to do with your race, your ethnicity. I am a proud Arab American. You know, that doesn't take away from me being a proud Arab American if I have somebody else who's qualified to lead our kids that's not an Arab American. At the end of the day, who is impacted? The kids that are the one that's impacted by the type of leadership that you hire. If you hire the wrong person based on ethnicity, then you impact our kid. You did a favor for someone from our community, but you're impacting our kids. So leave it alone. Allow it to go through. Respect the process, respect the privacy, and just allow it to go through. Why do we have to politic for individuals or people? I really didn't want to talk about it, but I'm being very clear on it. This is my personal opinion. Before Mary said something, I'm talking about my personal opinion. So, thank you.
The only thing I'm going to say is, because the community college was brought up, is the community college is not just Dearborn. The community college reflects the whole metropolitan area. It's not just us. We draw our students from out of district, which is a huge part of our financial sustainability of the community college. And we rely upon the students who come from out of district. So it's not just a Dearborn community relationship. It belongs to the metropolitan area. That's where our students are drawn from when it comes to respect of who you look for in leadership at the community college.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just
Trustees
to tell the public that we have we'll say it at the end of this meeting too, but since we're talking about it now, we have a special meeting on Thursday at the college where I'm sure we'll have a very, very lively discussion about these matters and other matters. And so I'll save my comments for that day, but I encourage everybody to attend that Thursday, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. at the college.
Thank you, and that's a good point. You know, we encourage anybody that has any feedbacks to attend the session at 6 o'clock. and we'll focus on it. We made sure we didn't bring it up to this meeting, so we don't take away from it, and we are taking away from it, so, from our meeting today. All right, next item.
Are you ready, Dan?
Next time, time is a charm.
Next item is a special report on report cards from Dr. Dan Patterson.
Oh, good evening, President Aljahmi, Board Trustees. I'm here tonight to provide an overview of some of the changes that we plan to implement on our elementary report card next fall in card marking 1. I'm going to give you an overview of why we are updating the report card now, talk about some of the work that we've done over the last few years that have led to these revisions, go over some of the main changes that we have in the new report card, and then talk about some of the work we need to do between now and October when we roll this out to our families. So like all good organizations, it's a good idea for us to revisit our policies and practices. Our elementary report card had not been updated since 2013, so it was time for us to take a look at it again. I'd like to say that there's nothing wrong with our current elementary report card. It's a good report card. It's just that several of the changes that we've made over the last few years and the work that we've done in terms of updating our curriculum and pacing and rubrics have led us to feel that if we better the alignment between the daily practice in our classrooms and how we're reporting that out to parents, it will help some of those conversations that we want to have between our stakeholders. So that's really what's driving these changes. So those recent initiatives that have kind of led up to this all kind of fall under the umbrella of what we call a guaranteed and viable curriculum. So the work that we've really done over the last 4 or 5 years is really trying to bring alignment to the teaching practices that we have in our district, K through 12. And the whole idea is that we want to have a very solidified and articulated program amongst all of our 34 buildings so that when kids either move from one building to another or as they progress from one grade to another, everything is well aligned and structured to support them. So that work all begins with our educational standards, which are learning goals given to us by the state of Michigan. We have those in every subject K through 12, and all public schools are meant to implement those educational standards. So they might tell us, for example, in 4th grade, in mathematics in 2nd grade, kids begin to learn place value in 2nd grade. They begin to add in, that grade as well. They'll learn negative numbers in 6th grade, but it doesn't tell us how to teach those, the curriculum that we're going to use, the order in which we teach them, and there's honestly a lot of standards to teach. So the work that we began back in 2022-23 was we got teacher teams together and looked at what we call essential or priority standards. And the idea behind that is looking through our curriculum, we want to pick out those really key learning targets that we want kids to have at each grade level that set them up for success from grade to grade. So we have a really unified, articulated system. So we've been working on that work for a few years now. We have, for the most part, finished that up. We have implemented pacing guides. So we've taken a look at our essential standards, how that looks in our curriculum, and kind of mapped out the year in the progression of the order that we want our students to learn these key skills. And then last year, we also introduced common assessments, which are some regular check-ins that we have created with our teachers to take a look at how our students are progressing on these standards throughout the year. And all of this work is done in that early release time on Tuesday where teachers get together, they look at student learning, and it's all aligned around this work that we've been doing. And we've also housed all of this work in our new system called Atlas, which has our pacing, essential standards, assessments. It's something that the teachers have been using this year to house all of that work. So we've taken the last year and a half to take these changes in how we are organizing our work and we've tried to translate that into a new report card. So last year in the 2024-25 school year, we sent out an open invitation to all of the elementary teachers to see if anyone was interested in piloting a new report card. We got a good group of responses back. I think we had around 40 people in that steering committee that year, and about 20 teachers that were implementing the new pilot report card. So we collaboratively built report cards from young 5 up through 5th grade. And then in card marking 3, we had those teachers fill out 2 different report cards. So this was a big ask on them, but they felt really strongly about this work. They filled out 2 report cards, the pilot report card and our current report card. They met with parents, they showed them both. We asked survey questions, we got feedback, and overall the results were very favorable in the direction that we were moving. So we decided to continue that work this year. We wanted to take time because we know that the report card is a very important tool for our families, so we did not want to rush this. So based on the feedback that we got last year, we implemented a second version of the report card. And then we did 3 stakeholder meetings this last fall. We did them at Salina, William Ford, and at Hague, and we invited parents and their children to come for like an interactive session, again, showing them both report cards and asking them questions. I'd like to thank several of the board members that came to those sessions and attended. So again, the feedback was very positive, but we also got some feedback that said some of the decisions we had made were not as popular as some of the other ones. And true to the process, we took that feedback and made some further revisions to it. I mean, I'll talk about those as we get to those components in the report card. We are currently revising the comment section, and later this year, as we get down to more of the final version, which we're very close to, then we will start sending out more information to families so we can get ahead of these changes and make sure everyone's ready for the fall. So I would say that there are 3 main changes to the report cards. Most likely the most important one is the changes in our reporting categories. So on the left-hand side, you'll see our current categories for language arts. They're rather broad, overarching categories, and this is what you'll currently see on the report card. What we have done is we've taken our essential standard work and we have translated the reporting categories in language arts into our essential standards. So these are what we feel are the most important learning targets that kids should have in each year. Now the standards are kind of lengthy. They're often several sentences. As we built our first report card, when we tried to throw in all of the standard language, it ended up being like 3 or 4 pages long. So we ended up taking those, that verbiage from MDE, and we tried to simplify that for our families and students. And so that's what you'll see on this slide here. So this particular standard is for reading informational. It maps to a standard provided to us from MDE, and this is one that we think is very important in 3rd grade. The second change that we are making is the ordering of the categories that we report out to families. So in our current report card, 1 is the highest category. We are reversing that order, and now 4 is going to be the higher category. There's a few reasons we are doing this. The original report card that we're using now, as I said, was implemented back in 2013. We used the 1, 2, 3, 4 because that was how the MEP reported achievement to our families as well. So it aligned with the state assessment at that time. Currently, almost every single reporting tool that we have measures 4, 3, 2, 1. At the high school, GPAs are 4, 3, 2, 1. Our rubrics are 4, 3, 2, 1. Our state assessments are 4, 3, 2, 1. So really the report card is kind of in the minority of using the 1, 2, 3, 4. So we wanted to align it with a lot of the other reporting that we're doing. An additional change that we're making is we are updating the comments. As I had said, that's in progress right now. We've been sending that out to teachers for their input, and we plan to have those revised in the next month. And with our standards being kind of simplified for families, we wanted to provide a mapping to the full standard as well as provide them with some other resources. So on the back of the report card, there will be a QR code that you can scan, and it will provide a lot of resources in terms of how to understand and read the report card. It'll also provide some language support. And we could add some other tools there that we might be able to find help support our family as well. So those would be the three main changes that we have. So if you put the two report cards side by side with the current changes, they're not going to look visually much different. Part of that reason is we're still using the same tool to create them. The report cards are created in our student information system, MyStar. So there are some restraints we have in terms of the layout and the formatting and what we can include. So it's still going to be a 2-column report card, 4 marking periods. The layout will be pretty similar. What will change is the reporting categories. We will have a new scale. We'll have some newer comments as well. So those would be the main changes that we are going to implement between now and next year. And I would like to say that for those board members that were part of those feedback sessions that we had in November, some of the proposals that we gave to our family at that time is we had some other categories for student growth that we included with the 4-3-2-1. The feedback from parents and from students is they found that confusing. They didn't find it necessarily useful, so we decided to not implement those on the report card. They also did not like to have the standard number up in the front. They found that kind of visually cluttered, so we decided to move that. But we really did try to take the impact or the input from our stakeholders and put that into this final report card. So where we are now is we are revising the comment section. We're getting additional feedback from principals and teachers over the next few months. And then, as I had said, we're going to start our informational campaign. We have a few more months of this year. This will be rolled out, I think roughly October is when we have the first card marking in the fall. And the sample report cards were created outside of MyStar just by doing some word processing. So now we are putting them into our MyStar system and making sure that everything looks and flows the way that we would like it to. And I would like to thank the large team that we have be a part of this over the last 2 years. We had quite a few teachers, instructional coach, ELDs, and district staff be a part of this team and facilitate the work over the last few years. Any questions about any of the changes that we are going to be making?
Any questions, Trustee Bazey?
Thank you for all of this. I think, I sat through one of the sessions and I see here, and as a dad with 3 elementary students, sometimes you get the report card and it just says spelling and you go, what do I do with it? Being more descriptive, I think, is great. I think there's an opportunity with the QR code that's available on there to take parents to resources. One, to be able to see the report card in different languages. Have we decided on which languages that it would be available so people can see it translated?
Not at this point, but I know that we will translate it into Arabic, Spanish, most likely a few others. We are looking at our student information system to see if we can actually translate it within our system. Right now, that capability isn't there, but we've put in a work order with the parent company that's in California. So we are looking at possibly being able to produce it in several languages. Right now, it is only available in English. We can do different languages in our comment section, but not the overall report card. But online, we will be able to translate at least the outline of it in the time being until we can get that worked out.
And then I think, again, going to those additional resources, if a parent has a student that has, that's scoring a 1, 2, or 3, and I'll pick math for example, a second grader learning addition, subtraction, and such, having resources not only explain what that is, but worksheets or things that parents can do at home. I think it's a very easy way for them to quickly get to a resource that is in line with what's happening in the classroom, that they could emphasize and work with their child at home and have that in multiple languages as well. I know it's a lot of work up front, but hopefully once it's done, it's not as much later. So I mean, if you have a bilingual home where they understand that a student may be struggling and something they can help with, but English may be difficult, if you have that same worksheet or that same lesson, and then resources where they can get additional ones, I think that's huge. I hope that's, when parents are taken to that resource site, things like that are available. Is that the plan?
So, yes, so we do plan to leverage that site to provide some resources to parents. In terms of how that is going to look, we're still working out some of those details. We have our curriculum platform, which is Atlas, as I mentioned. That is something that also has a family and parent-facing site that we haven't implemented yet. I know that's coming down the line. So we want to make sure that any resources we do provide to parents, we do it in kind of a easy to find way. So those are things that we are looking into. We do want to try to leverage those resources.
And then my last question is about the comment section. I remember when I was a kid, and right now when I get report cards, I'll go through the scores, but I want to hear what the teacher has to say. And you're talking about making updates there. One may think, okay, comment section is just an open text box, fill it in. But what's the objective there, and what are we looking to do with updates with regards to that?
So there are two ways right now that teachers could provide comments. We do have an open comment box, and then we also are trying to update our list of comments. And in that list of comments, we have several different categories that we're looking at that teachers could pull from, just in terms of key characteristics that we want students to have in the classroom. So when we decided to pull growth out of the scale, we thought that that's something that we could include in the comments, that students are making good growth, they're putting in good effort, they're showing good citizenship, they're working well with others. So we have several different categories of key characteristics we want students to have in that section. And that's what we're sending out right now to try to make sure it captures what we think would be good feedback to provide to families.
Are these canned, predefined things that they just check off that get added, or what?
So there will be a list of predefined ones that they can choose from, and then there is also the open-ended comment box that teachers could write in as well. So it will be a combination of both at this point.
Comparing the old report card to this new one, does it take teachers more time to fill out, less time, same amount of time?
We really tried to keep it to the same two-page format. One reason was we just wanted to make sure that it was simple and to the point. If we go beyond 2 pages, logistically, it gets really challenging because then you need to staple. It's a lot more work with that. But we also wanted to make sure that it wasn't something so long that there was just too much information there. So there might be a few more standards on this report card, but we feel that right now, there's a lot of translation that teachers need to do, going from our essential standards into those kind of broader categories. And the whole idea is that this should line really well with what they're doing in the classroom and how they're already grading to facilitate that process. And it should also provide parents with more actionable resource, because instead of just a category like reading informational text, it will show them a few areas that they might need to work on. So that was the goal, to try to provide some more actionable information to families.
I hope it saves some time, because again, going back to that comment section, you can go through a whole report card, but sometimes almost as equally, getting that feedback from a teacher about your student and hearing that, and even the student reading that, here's what my teacher is saying and how I can improve, and that caring that's there, that time, but that's time, right? And I know time's so precious. So I hope that this new report card allows a little bit more time for some more of that connection and comments with what's going on with each individual student.
Yes, definitely. And I did put all of this work we've done over the last year and a half in one document, so you can see all of the artifacts and feedback. I'll have that shared with you, and it will also include our new and improved comments that we're getting feedback on right now.
Go ahead.
Not a question, just a comment. I really appreciate and commend this update, and I was able to attend one of the sessions at William Ford, and just hearing the amount of feedback that was given and the open conversation that was promoted was really nice to see. But now looking at this and remembering the feedback, there were so many of the changes that were requested by the parents that were implemented directly. So I also commend you for that, for listening and to actually take action on it. Not that we listen to everything, but I think, you know, a lot of valid points were made and good conversations were had. So top to bottom, you know, I think this is awesome. Thank you.
Trustee Mazza?
Yep, I echo Trustee Soap's comments. I attended the Salina session, and it was a lively discussion with the parents who were attending. And I love the simplicity. I think going simple is great. However, I was really hooked on the growth metrics.
We went around the world.
I know you were torn, but definitely the growth metrics, I believe they were great indicators of how my student is doing at this time, because we talked, I think, for 10 or 15 minutes about just progressing. What does progressing mean? Right. And the growth metric was a great area where you see your kid is progressing if they're scoring in that category. So
We can explain a little bit more.
sure,
Process,
but
if you'd like now or later.
Yeah, we can have definitely an offline conversation on that. But I'm very excited that we're going to be bilingual as far as giving the parents the full information, that they're being fed the correct information, not what the child is telling
is
the
translating,
yeah, translating the total opposite sometimes. But yeah, that definitely. I was going to ask also about the rollout, and which you did answer, that we're going to have an informational campaign, because I know even for the most educated parents, this is going to be a challenge of just the fact that we're switching the order is going to be huge. So whatever easy, to the point communication that we can make to the parents that this is coming through in the fall, and telling them to educate themselves on how to read it and take their time, this time of doing that would be great. And I think the last thing is that the list is missing a name. Mr. Rohr definitely was part of
This is
leading
my
this
baby, guys. I don't know if
initiative.
you know.
So thank you for
Dan and the team, they've been great partners, and Dan took the lead this year
Yes,
even more.
and thank you to Dr. Patterson.
I want to add a cohort of people that weren't mentioned. We talked with a lot of middle school students because they just experienced this report card for 6 years. So we went into all the SETSACs. We showed them both report cards. It was a great conversation. Some of the kids said, well, Ms. Rohr, if this was around back in elementary, I wouldn't have gotten in so much trouble when I got my report card. And others, like you said, Mr. Mosip, felt like the growth, they had mixed feelings about it. At the end of the day, most of the comments were, it made things a little more confusing to understand. But again, we can elaborate more later. This should not be more work. It should be clear. It should be transparent. It's what our parents and students deserve. It's what our teachers deserve. Less interpretation from one teacher to the other, from one parent to the other, from one student to the other. This is going to make sure parents and students really know how they're doing in every standard. Like Dr. Patterson said, not a blanket grade, but specifically what are my next steps as a student, as a parent for my child in every single area. This is the right thing to do. We're very excited about it. And it is a learning curve, like everything is, and we're prepared. We've already began slideshows for different cohorts, for students, for parents, for teachers. Information has to come in different ways, and we recognize that.
Go ahead, Trustee Bazey.
I know that you guys have already done some, piloting with this. What has your experience been with parents when they see the new one and understanding it? Was it as big of a learning curve, or did it seem pretty self-explanatory?
No, I think that overall they were very positive. They like seeing the learning broken down into more actionable steps. So that I think was all very clear from our parents. Like overwhelmingly, they like that new format. The only pieces that were less clear and that we've kind of gone back and forth were the ones that we mentioned in terms of some of the scales and some of the growth ratings. But overall, they liked the transition that we're making from kind of the broader categories into the more narrow, more targeted ones.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Doesn't sound like it. Thank you so much, Dan, and we always appreciate what you do behind the scenes, so thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dan.
Next item.
Next item is action items. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the interim superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below. So at this time, I'm calling for a single motion to approve all of the action items on this agenda, with the exception of any items which any board members wish to exclude.
Any items that we want to exclude?
So I'm looking for, I'm looking for a motion that action items numbered 1 through, is it 12 today? 13. 1 through 13 be approved as recommended in this agenda unless there be any exceptions.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. So moved by trustee Muzip, supported by trustee Petlikov. So roll call on that?
Any questions first of
Yeah.
Any
agenda
questions?
I don't have
Anything?
questions.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Given that there's no questions, let's have a roll.
Trustee Mozip,
Yes.
trustee Bezzi,
Yes.
trustee Pelichkov,
Yes.
trustee Subuh,
Yes.
trustee Zahar, yes. President Aljahmi.
Yes. So motion is approved.
So the summary of the agenda action items is as follows. Approval of warrants per Board Report 25-93. Number 2, approval of change orders. Number 3, approval of an award to Schreiber Corporations and Lutz Roofing. Number 4, approval of an award to A to Z Construction Group LLC and Gemini Electric Company. Number 5, approval of an award to O'Donnell Electric and Brencall Contractors. 6 through 9, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P through 12. Number 10, approval of a financial statement. Number 11, approval of 2026 January graduates per Board Report 25-101. Number 12, approval of policy updates and changes per Board Report 25-102. And number 13, approval of donations. Next item is Board of Education business, starting with acknowledgement of correspondence.
I'm reading one correspondent, which is really just an appreciation from Woodworth Coffee Beans Club. It's an appreciation card in honor of Board Appreciation Month. So that's the one thing from Miss Kimberly Ismail, chairwoman from Coffee Beans Club. So thank you. I don't have anything else.
I think we all have
Yeah.
thank you cards from students seated at our desks.
Okay.
Thank you to Woodworth and Mrs. Smith. Yeah.
I'm missing mine.
Okay, the next item is board member committee and organization reports.
Trustee Mazza?
So on the superintendent search front, our contractor or search firm, Michigan Education Institute, Michigan Leadership Institute, sorry, has held in-person listening sessions at William Ford on February 5th and held here also a listening session at 6 p.m. at the ASC building. And there is an online survey for all community members to fill out regarding the superintendent profile. That survey will end on February 16th, and it is available online on dearbornschools.org and also all of the Dearborn Schools social networks. I have forwarded to all of you a message from Mr. Silveri asking about the salary range that we want to put on the job description. and I wanted to, it doesn't have to be tonight, but they would like some direction of putting that range. They've did also some research as far as the compensation that other districts of our size, how they compensate their superintendents. Where does Dearborn fall? And Dearborn, I don't know for better or worse, but falls 11th of 12th place as far as compensation for the superintendent compared to those districts that were chosen based on the size of the district. So I'd like to get back to him by midweek to say this is the range that the board is comfortable with. So I'll open the floor to discussions.
Any comments on that? And thank you for doing the extensive search or the MLI. Any comments on the salary? Go ahead, Trustee Zare.
I read the email, Trustee Mosip. I'm comfortable, I trust you, I'm comfortable with whatever recommendations you gather from people and to follow your lead on that, without getting into specific numbers right here, right now. But I trust you to follow your lead on that to do what's best for all of us.
Okay. Trustee Soba?
Yeah, outside of questions and discussion, I guess is the email that provides a range, is that the recommended range that we should be our starting point discussion on? I guess it might be easier for us to base it off of that and see if there are any changes or issues.
Yeah, email is fine, here is fine. I mean, whatever method that you feel comfortable with. Obviously, it's going to be a public figure. We're going to have that range over there. I asked as a follow-up question in my phone conversation with him, as far as what's the best range, and he said within 20 to 30,000. 30,000 is max. So, looking at the market and seeing what other districts are compensating, there is also the idea of pay for performance. So setting the goals for the superintendent and then paying an additional bonus. There is a caveat to that, is that that's not happening for all of the other employees. Obviously, they do get their merit increases, but it's not like a pay for performance job. So if that's something that we want to entertain. But obviously, once the job is being offered, there will be a period for negotiations as far as benefits.
That's where
and other fringes that we can talk about. But for right now, we would like to get a salary range.
Is it possible for you to give us your recommendation and then people could reply?
I could do that.
I
I could put some options and then get some feedback from everybody.
Because when we look at it, the ranges are so, without going into the number, they're so far.
They are
But
far
then-
apart, yes.
But then they fall into the middle where it's easy to pick. So if you could send us a recommendation, we
could.
trust your opinion.
Okay.
And then if anybody has any comment, they could reply to you. Trustee Bazey?
You know, a question, I was looking at, it's the Mackinac Center, they have, from 2022, they go through and they show salaries, but you also see a wide, and it's tough with the benefits piece, you see a wide breadth of, you might see one salary here and another one here, but then you look at the benefits and everything kind of.
It depends on, how they've included it when they.
Yeah.
When they.
I just don't know, that's my one thing about approaching that, like how do we approach that? What philosophy do we follow there?
So Mackinac usually only puts up the salary, right?
No, it's a salary, the benefits,
And
the
the
travel,
TSAs
the
now?
annuity, the
Oh,
insurance,
now they
other.
did put up that, so, okay. It's been a while since I looked at their database. But I do trust the research that MLI has provided. I checked multiple sources to see if it's accurate, and they're open sources.
Yeah.
So, obviously, our district is very unique. It has its own challenges, and, it's not just we're comparing ourselves to others and saying, oh, well, we'll just land in the middle. But we want to make sure that we're as competitive as other districts. And obviously this is the top job and our only employee. So we want to be making sure that they receive a fair compensation. But yeah, we can definitely look at Mackinac now that it has details on that.
I guess my question wasn't the accuracy, what MLI has put together. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
accurate. It's just more kind of an idea. You know, you have salary, pension, total compensation. How do we handle that?
When you do a profile, you usually just do the salary range, and then the benefits are the
You negotiate that.
negotiated
Yeah.
part. So we only have to look at the salary range, basically, when you're thinking about it. So only look at the salary range of the other districts without incorporating, if you can, take that out of the equation.
Okay, so I'll email some options and talk to Trustee Barzio as well, get his feedback on that, and then get back to Mr. Silveri once we have consensus.
Sounds good. And if I could add, the timeline for the whole process is online. So anyone that wants to see the timeline, they could see it. It's posted on our website. With the next milestone after we collect the feedback, as Trustee Marzib said, is really posting the application, which I think is between February 20th and March 27th.
Yes.
So, but feel free to go online and look at the timeline if there's any updates with the help of Trustee Marzib and, our district leaders, it'll be updated. Okay. Any question for Trustee Marzib? If not, is there any board member committee or organization reports by anyone?
We didn't have any committee meetings yet, but we're planning to do it. Now that we have committee assignments, we'll be meeting from next month.
Next item.
Next item is board member and superintendent commentary.
Trustee Marzib?
I'd like just to comment on a visit that our district did to Northville schools. I know there was another visit to Livonia to see what that district is doing, or those two districts are doing with their bond money, and seeing that firsthand and looking at we toured the high school, the middle school, the elementary, and we witnessed a blend of projects that were from scratch. There were projects where they built a brand new high school, which is great. And then also the additions that they made to their existing high school are, I'm sorry, they made a brand new middle school. And they made additions to their high school and also additions to their elementary. And seeing that firsthand was eye-opening for me. Just the light itself was very intriguing. The students' feelings in the schools and their energy was outstanding. The furniture, how flexible their furniture is. Obviously, they brought it brand new and they invested a lot of money in it, but they said it was probably the best investment when they thought it was not. Of seeing how classrooms can, in a span of minutes, change from a lecture hall to a meeting room. And it was the student engagement there. And I know they have the cell phone policy, the middle school. I didn't see one cell phone in sight, which was great to see. And we'd like to model that in Dearborn. But obviously, Dearborn, we do want to look what other districts are doing, the best practices, but we have our own brand as well. But seeing that, it was definitely eye-opening. It was great. So I'd like to thank Dr. Faraj for arranging that visit to Northville, and I don't know who arranged to.
Deanna Shaheen.
Oh, yeah. Ms.
And then
Shaheen
Mike
to
Saley coordinated.
doing that to
special ed
Livonia.
facility. Yes.
So I just wanted to say, This is something that I dream of having in Dearborn, where in one of their projects, they completely gutted out the middle school, just kept the gym, pretty much 20% of the middle school, left the old building, but rebuilt 75% of the entire school with a brand-new building. I know Dr. Faraj leaned over and told me our students deserve this. I totally agree with that. You know, with our upcoming bond, our students deserve that kind of building that will be critical for their student success.
If I could just add to and I'm glad you mentioned it, because we went to Livonia. At least I know I went to Livonia, and we went to Northville, but then we went to the Special Education Center. And I was really impressed by these facilities, the Child Care Center in Livonia, the Computer and Technical Education Center, which is so impressive in Livonia. The high schools, the layout, the look and feel, the modern look at the library. It's, you know, these kids seem comfortable in their environment. The sport facilities, you know, the field house, the workout facilities for the athletes was just amazing. So when you see that, and I want to thank, you know, all those that coordinated to kind of get us to see, as new board members, to see what others have, to kind of have an idea what we want, especially when the bond comes, because we really, our schools need to make some major changes. I was really impressed, you know, how these schools and the investment they put in their schools and some of the focus they gave, you know, like special education and childcare, they were amazing. So I really appreciate it, and thank you, Trustee Muzza, for bringing that up. I almost forgot to mention that. So anybody, go ahead.
So we all know that classrooms don't teach students, teachers teach students.
Absolutely.
So when we see what our teachers do with our students, given the boundaries and challenges they face every day, just imagine what our teachers could do in those spaces with our students. The sky's the limit. When we win STEM challenges without a STEM room or a budget, and they have banners that take up the whole space, but they have a room to fill it in, that's gonna be our kids. It already is our children. It's gonna be even more of them, given all of that, given all the opportunities. So it's exciting. It was, we felt it. We were excited. Our kids deserve it, our families deserve it, and we will get there. We will get there. We need to get there.
I was afraid when we went to Livonia that they would ask Ms. Shaheen back. The way they were giving her so much love, I'm like, okay, stay away from them. So.
Can you blame them?
No. Anything else? If not, oh, go ahead, Trustee. So.
I know Superintendent Sroor mentioned the ELC event earlier, and she, you know, gave credit to the staff that attended and put in so much hard work. I was able to attend. They were, again, I can testify that they were all happy, smiley, you know, had done the work to prepare for it and then stayed throughout the event and interacted with everybody that came through, which was so exciting and encouraging to see. But I think what trickles down from that was, and we didn't acknowledge, and sometimes we don't, unintentionally, was the amount of students, volunteers that were there. And they were also just as smiley and chipper. And I think it's just a good testament to see this is what good leadership looks like. This is how to set a good example. So yes, I appreciate the staff for doing so. I know they work hard, but I appreciate those students for being there and for constantly volunteering for those things. So let's make sure to get them acknowledged as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me.
And I did want to say something. I saw Rashida Tlaib over the weekend, and she was mentioning that she advocated for us to get a grant, 1.2 million. So shout out to her for doing that. I think it's for CTE. So I just want to mention that it's good when our politicians and and our representative look out for us. So thank you, Rashida. Okay. Nothing else? Next item.
Next item is request for information and/or future agenda items.
Go ahead.
So I have actually for a few years before I was elected to the board, and then last year when I was elected to the board, there's been an issue that's been very important to me, and it's still an issue, which is the demographic racial classification of students in our district, in the MyStar system and this kind of stuff. I brought it up last year, but we had other challenges come up, and we had a policy committee meeting or two about it, but never gained any traction, and I'm bringing it up again. I know that since 2025, we have started counting, we have added Middle East and North African as a category on the intake forms, and then therefore as a category on MyStar, which MyStar is the sort of student, the system which has the student profiles and their demographic information. But however, there has not been any campaign. So we've only been intaking students with the correct classification for a year, or less than a year, really. And we have not undertaken any sort of campaign to reclassify students correctly for whom, let's say, you've been in the schools for more than a year, and your classification will still be Caucasian under MyStar when they're not. And that's because, without getting into the history of it, Arab Americans have been misclassified as white for a very long time, and now that's changing. But even when it wasn't changing, we had the ability to make our own classifications, and we still haven't, well, now we've kind of done it, but we haven't taken any steps to get accurate counts. So we still have a wildly inaccurate, I mean, it's really like so inaccurate that it's not even worth looking at, demographic breakdown of what our students look like. And that needs to be fixed, and it needs to be aggressively addressed so that we have an accurate demographic idea of what our student body looks like. Because, of course, when you have that information, more information is always good. And when you have that information, obviously, you can better serve your populations. So I really want to urge again the staff here, under the leadership of Superintendent Saror, to take this on, figure out a plan as to how you can fix the classifications of the students in MyStar. Can they do it in the schools? You know, can the principal in each school be directed, hey, classify these students correctly with your own knowledge and what you know about them? Does it have to be done through the parents? If there's a way that the students can do, the schools can do it themselves, that would be great. I don't think there's any reason that they can't, legally at least. So we have to get on that, because right now we don't know what the demographic breakdown of our students is. Therefore, we don't have some of the most important information at our hands to serve them correctly. And so I'm urging again that we do that and that we get on it quickly.
Trustee Zahar, would it be advantageous to do that at the enrollment or re-enrollment, since we do get the forms, or we do now fill it out online, to ask them that question again?
Yeah, yes. Well, so what is happening is, or what has happened, is that, so when a student enrolls,
the first time, I understand, but it's for reoccurring students or students who are coming back.
Yeah, but
we do fill out the emergency cards. I'm trying to recollect my memory when I did that last fall. I don't recall the demographics question coming through.
Right, that's what
it
I'm
was
saying.
Already pre-filled, probably.
Right.
So it's saying maybe the district, as a catch-all, make that a required field as a reaffirming.
They could. That's one option. But I think the most effective and quickest option Because like you said, if a student is enrolling now, again, only since the fall of 2025, and I can be corrected, but I think I'm correct about this, only since the fall of 2025 has that blue, like, enrollment form that a parent fills out if they come here, included the classification of Middle Eastern North African, which I would also advise changing to Arab American anyway. So, but only since the fall of 2025 has that option existed on that form, which means if somebody enrolled their kid before that, it wasn't there. So they were checking white or being told to check white or maybe checking nothing. And then once they're enrolled, they don't have to update that information we don't have a mechanism where they have to update that information every year. So maybe that's one way, because the emergency card happens every year, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's one way. But I think the most effective way would be for it to happen in the schools. And it could happen much more quickly that way. And maybe you can inform each parent that this is what we've done. If we're wrong, let us know.
I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, that's the
As a-
legal
I
question
think-
I'd have to,
Yeah,
I
think
mean,
that
I don't
this-
see it, I don't know.
The parents have to make that change. I don't think we have, oh, just because you're an Arab American, I'll check you as an Arab American. I don't think that we can do that.
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. So I'd like to get the answer to that question. I assume we can
Yeah,
figure out the answer to
maybe-
that question pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any, I don't think there's any legal reason outside of board policy that we couldn't do that, but I don't know if there's a board policy that says that they have to be the ones to do that. So I'd like to get an answer to that question quickly, because if it can happen in the schools, the teachers, the administration of the schools, obviously that'd be the quickest way. And then maybe you inform the parents and say, hey, Adil, it's said in our records that you're white. The teacher says, that's wrong, whatever. I mean, a lot of our staff is Arab American. I don't know why we can't fix it. And they can inform the parent, hey, we've changed this classification because we've received a new category recently. We've changed the classification in the school. If you have an objection or a problem, let us know, or something like that. That would be the quickest way. Hopefully that can happen that way. If we have to go out to the community, because of the failure of American law and misidentification that's been going on for decades, we ended up in this situation. If the only way to do it, which I don't think it is that we have to go out and solicit this information from the parents of 22,000 kids, we're going to still end up with a massive undercount, and it's going to take a really long time. If it can happen in the schools in some way, then obviously that would be the best and quickest and I think most efficient way for it to happen.
So I think the ask is really for the school to give us options on what's possible based on legality and what could be done. Also, we need, from a system point of view, does MyStar or their system have that capability to be able to add categories? They should, but we want to make sure that they have that. I think that's some of the questions, and to give us the option, trustees there.
Yeah. So the next step to this. So the in MyStar now, the category of Middle East North African exists.
Does it?
Yeah, it's already there because they updated
Actually,
it last year.
Ask if Arab American, yes or no. There is a question for that.
On what?
On MyStar.
Okay, but there's still in the schools again.
And we've been asking that for years, by the way. It's not like something.
Okay, well, you're going to still have a problem because under the racial classification, I don't know what they call it, demographics or whatever, in MyStar, look, if you have a separate question that says, are you Arab American, yes or no, but still under the ethnicity thing, it says Caucasian, we still have a sort of classification problem. So this all needs to be cleaned up. The other thing that needs to happen, I think, in my view, is a specification after that question, which exists on the census form. And again, let me start by saying, no matter what federal categories there are, we as a school district can do whatever we want in creating categories for our students, as long as we don't delete any of the federal categories, if that makes sense, okay? So if there's 5 federal categories, and you think that you should add a 6th one because your student body has a unique composition that you want to count, that ability has existed for decades for us to do, and we just never did it, okay? So we could have done this 10 years ago. It has nothing to do with the recent pushes for a Middle East North African box on the census. So, and we should be specifying. So in other words, I would love to get an accurate number of how many Arab American students there are. And I'd like to know how many of those Arab American students identify as Yemeni or Lebanese or Iraqi. Because again, you might have all these, there's no harm in getting these numbers. The federal government does it, we should do it. The federal government, in 2000, we conduct a census every 10 years. In 2010, the federal government conducted a census and found out there's 308 million and a couple more people living in America. 308 million, they counted each of them. Out of these 308 million people living in America, the federal government reported that there are 12 people, 12, not 12 million, 12 people out of the 308 million people that are from the island of Iwo Jima. Now, how does that happen? That happens because someone checks Asian, and then under Asian, please specify they write Iwo Jima. And 12 out of 308 million people did it. What does that mean? That means you can count these things if you want to. And you can ask the right questions, and you can count. And there's no reason that we shouldn't have a way, and we can do it through the software. We're paying for the software. We can ask them to add a little bit more. If it costs a little extra money, we'll do it, but I don't think they'll charge us any extra money. And we ask these follow-up questions. So right now, there is no please specify in the MyStar system. So even if we had an accurate count of Arab Americans, we wouldn't know that follow-up question. Or if someone wants to check African American and they want to say, and they want a follow-up question with specify Nigeria or whatever, we don't have any of that capability. Same thing for Latin Americans. We don't have, Latin American, please specify Mexican, we don't have any of that. So that all needs to be done. And then we need to be aggressive, because this demographics is some of the most effective information you can have in understanding how to serve your students. And understanding, it would be very effective, right? If someone comes to us and says, hey, we have a special need for the Mexican population in our schools. Well, right now, we have no idea how many Mexican kids there are in the schools. So we need to be able to know these numbers so that we can know how to address these needs. So right now, we're wildly failing at it.
If you could recap, just because of time, what is it that you're asking them?
So I'm asking from our superintendent is to first find out, number one, are there any legal barriers for the legal or policy barriers for the correction of these classifications to happen in the schools without having to go to the parents, because we all know that'll just take a lot longer. Number two, to coordinate with MyStar to add these follow-up questions. So Arab American, please specify. Latino American, please specify. African American, please specify. White American, please specify. Maybe we have a lot of kids that identify as Italian and we don't know.
Maybe we have kids that are going to say, I don't want to answer.
That's fine.
So we got to add that checkbox too, like
Sure,
they do.
sure, but right now, I would like, if somebody already has under their, because again, that's already an option. So if somebody has unidentified or they didn't want to answer, you don't need to follow up with that kid. But I'll tell you this, every Arab kid that's classified as Caucasian, somebody put that in there. So somebody classified the kid like that. So that means the kid or the parent wanted to be classified like that, or they didn't know any better, but that happened. That wasn't a I don't want to be identified person. So that's a misidentification. So we need to fix all that. So the two main asks are, let's find out if we can do it in the schools, because I think that'd be the quickest way. I mean, if every teacher could do it with their classes, it could be done in a few months. And the next question is the follow-up, please specify. Just like the census does it. The census asks you, are you white? 2020 census questions, go look at them. They said, are you white? If you're white, please specify. Black, please specify. Latino, please specify. We weren't on that census yet. So we're going to be on the 2030 census unless President Trump changes something, which is not beyond the realm of possibility. But right now, we're supposed to be as Middle East, North African. But we can also change that term. We can call it Arab American if we want to. So we need to be able to specify, and we need to be able to have the, see if we can do it in the schools. That's for now. I might have more questions or requests in the future, but that's for now. Those two questions should be able to be answered pretty easily.
All right. Thank you so much. And I think once we get the information, then the board might have to provide their own feedback on what's needed and how we implement if we if we are going to implement. Okay. Any other requests for information or future agenda items? All right, next item.
Future meeting dates, Monday, February 16th, 2026, HFC policy meeting, 6 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Cabinet Conference Room. Monday, February 16th, 2026, HFC Board of Trustees meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom. And Monday, March 9th, P12 Board meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. And I'll add to this, which is not on this, which is Thursday, February 12th at 6 p.m., special meeting of the HFC Board of Trustees in the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Cabinet Conference Board.
No, it's in the Frank Franchi boardroom, right?
No, this is
Not-
Frank
No, it's Henry
Franchi.
Ford. This is.
Oh, the Henry Ford, yes.
Yes.
Going to be at the
At the
Andrews
Rosanna, yeah. Rosanna
So,
boardroom.
yeah, so just to, oh, sorry, the Rosenau Bar, sorry. So just to confirm, sorry, let me correct myself, just to say it again. We also have a meeting this Thursday, February 12th, 2026, at 6 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom at HFC. That's a HFC special meeting.
Correct.
Thank you. If nothing else, motion to adjourn.
Support.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You don't need a motion to adjourn, you just get to adjourn.
The open meeting next to you do.
No.